Breaking news! Something is brewing inside the Ravens organization, and it's bigger than just a few bad games. Behind the scenes, tension is rising, questions are being asked, and the fan base is demanding answers. We're not just talking about missed tackles or blown coverages. We're talking about the potential collapse of what this franchise was built on for over 2 decades, defensive dominance. Could we be on the verge of a coaching shakeup that changes the course of the entire season? And is the next leader of this defense already inside the building, quietly waiting for his moment? But before we go any further, make sure you hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you feel like it, comment, "Go Ravens!" Let's see how many of you still believe in this team through the storm. Now, buckle up, because what we're about to dive into might explain everything that's gone wrong with the Ravens defense and what could happen next that no one saw coming. We're 3 weeks into the 2025 season, and already the Ravens defense has managed to hit rock bottom. Statistically, they've not just been bad, they've been near historically bad. The numbers speak for themselves. 415 total yards allowed per game, worst in the entire NFL. 266 passing yards, second worst, 30th in rushing yards, and tied for 28th in sacks with just 3. You might be thinking, didn't we have defensive struggles last year too? And sure, 2024 wasn't pretty in the first 10 weeks. But even then, Baltimore could at least hang its hat on one thing: stopping the run. That run defense was a top 5 unit in the NFL. This year, third worst in rushing yards allowed through just 3 weeks. And the concerning part is this isn't a personnel issue the way it felt last season. The roster has players who can perform. But the problem? Physicality, grit, identity. This team, this franchise, used to pride itself on being the toughest team on the field. Play like a Raven wasn't just a slogan. It was a badge of honor earned by legends like Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, and Ed Reed. But the 2025 Ravens? They're unrecognizable. Take Roquan Smith, for example, a player who should be the anchor of this defense. The leader, the hammer. Against Detroit, Smith looked tentative, letting blockers get upfield and into his body instead of attacking the line. One play showed him essentially surrendering a gaping lane to Jahmyr Gibbs. No aggression, no impact, just getting washed out by a center and a guard like it was practice. If your middle linebacker is getting pushed around like that, what hope does the rest of the defense have? Even Kyle Hamilton, typically the most physical presence in the secondary, looked a step slower, a bit softer against Detroit. And let's be clear, this isn't just about 1 or 2 guys. Nobody on the defense, not the linebackers, not the tackles, not the ends, is playing with that trademark Ravens edge. And that all comes back to coaching. Defensive coordinator Zach Orr, a former Raven himself, is under the spotlight now more than ever. His unit isn't just underperforming, they're getting embarrassed. One stat that stands out as a giant red flag: Baltimore's blitz rate is just 12.1%, 30th in the league. That's the 3rd lowest. Last year they were at 20.5%, which was still in the bottom 7. This is a team that clearly can't get pressure with 4, and yet, or refuses to send 5. You watch games, and quarterbacks are sitting in the pocket, calmly going through not 1, not 2, but 4 progressions before dumping it off or hitting a deep shot. Jared Goff wasn't touched all game. Josh Allen didn't feel pressure until the 4th quarter. That's unacceptable. But here's where things start to get really interesting, because there may already be a solution inside the building. A familiar face, a blast from the past, someone who knows exactly what it means to build a tough, physical Ravens defense. Chuck Pagano. Yes, the same Chuck Pagano who coordinated the Ravens defense back in 2011, a unit that finished 3rd in total yards allowed, 1st in passing TDs allowed, just 11 all season, and 3rd in sacks with 48. Sure, he had legends on that squad: Lewis, Reed, Suggs. But talent alone didn't define those units. It was the attitude, the aggression, the identity. Pagano was quietly brought back in January as a senior secondary assistant, a low-profile hire that now looks like a strategic insurance policy. While some fans have pointed out the irony, Pagano coaching the secondary while the pass defense ranks near the bottom, the reality is, no secondary can survive when the quarterback has all day. You can't cover for 5 seconds every play, and that's been the case week after week. Pagano may not be a long-term solution. He's in his 60s now, and likely wouldn't be a 5-year answer, but he could absolutely be the guy to right the ship in 2025, even if just temporarily. A veteran coach with fire, intensity, and decades of experience, he would command instant respect and likely bring back some of the missing aggression this defense so desperately needs. The question now isn't if Zach Orr is on the hot seat. He is. The question is, how much longer can John Harbaugh wait before making the call? And that's where we'll leave things for part 1. Let's keep this going. If you're still with me, that means you're just as fired up about this defense as I am, and that you care deeply about the direction of this team. So let's talk about what a Chuck Pagano takeover could actually look like, and why it might be the best immediate move the Ravens can make. To start, let's look at what Pagano represents, not just historically, but philosophically. Pagano's 2011 defense wasn't just dominant in stats, it was feared. They led with aggression. They weren't reactive, they attacked. They blitzed creatively, disguised pressure, and brought an attitude that said, "You're not scoring today." That defense played with purpose, pride, and personality. And those things are completely missing in 2025. What made Pagano's defenses unique was how he tailored his aggression. He wasn't reckless, he was strategic. He knew when to overload a side, when to drop a lineman and bring a safety, and when to throw exotic blitz packages that rattled even elite quarterbacks. That kind of intelligent aggression is exactly what this current unit is crying out for. Pagano didn't just rely on stars, he maximized role players, too. He made guys like Corey Redding and Jarrett Johnson into critical cogs in the machine. Now let's be realistic, this isn't 2011, and Pagano isn't walking into a room with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Terrell Suggs waiting for him. But the Ravens still have pieces. Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Kyle Hamilton, these are high-level athletes who could thrive in a more aggressive, structured system. Even players like Justin Matabike and Odefoa could benefit from someone who knows how to unleash them with better scheming. And let's not forget, Pagano hasn't been just sitting around watching old tape. His return to the Ravens in 2025 was preceded by time away from coaching, yes, but that time gave him perspective. He's been refreshed, re-energized. Watching from afar often gives coaches the ability to learn what works league-wide and what doesn't. Coming back into the building with a broader view could actually be a massive advantage. The Ravens knew what they were doing when they brought him back, quietly placing him in the room with Orr. It's not a coincidence. He's not just a secondary assistant. He's the break glass in case of emergency option. And guess what? That glass is cracking. Some fans might say, well, why bring in a guy who's coaching the secondary when the pass defense is this bad? But that misses the point entirely. The real issue with the secondary isn't coaching, it's time. These DBs are being asked to cover elite receivers for 4 to 5 seconds because there is zero pressure up front. You could have prime Deion Sanders back there, and it wouldn't matter if the QB has an eternity to throw. Pagano's background isn't just DBs, it's defensive unity. He coordinates a full defense, and his strength has always been making all 3 levels play as one. That cohesion is completely missing right now. This team looks like 11 guys doing their own thing with no real communication or chemistry. And here's where things could get dicey. The next 2 games on the schedule, Kansas City and Houston. Now sure, the Chiefs' offense hasn't looked as electric this year, but it's still Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And if that group torches Baltimore's defense, the calls to replace will reach deafening levels. Then there's Houston. C.J. Stroud and company haven't exactly been world beaters in 2025, but if they get hot and Baltimore's defense rolls over again, that's it. At that point, Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta may have no choice. There's only so many times you can say we just need to clean things up before fans, media, and maybe even players lose confidence in the message. So why not make the switch now, while there's still time to salvage the season? This Ravens team has too much talent to be 31st in points allowed and tied for 28th in sacks. This fan base has supported too many great defenses to sit through another year of watching quarterbacks casually dismantle Baltimore's identity. Pagano doesn't need to be the long-term answer. He just needs to stabilize the ship, inject some fire, return a sense of pride and physicality to a unit that's looked like it's sleepwalking through games. And if it works, if the defense suddenly starts flying to the ball again, playing angry, blitzing with purpose, then maybe, just maybe, this team can rediscover what it really means to play like a Raven. What do you think, Ravens fans? Is it time for Harbaugh to make the move and hand the defense over to Chuck Pagano? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for daily Ravens breakdowns, and check out the next video right here on the screen. Thanks for watching.